You're listening to Frankly Speaking Sports with Larry Frank on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seeds today. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay. And we got a new captain now. Tom Brady's at the helm, brought his first mate Gronk. Hell yeah, it's going down, getting nasty in the trenches, man. Nah, they don't want that. Steady Tristan Wirfs, Steve Smith, Ali Marpet, coming acting hungry, getting worked by chances. Chef until the whistle, boy, you serve them pancakes. Giving Brady time to drop back and hit Cam break. First down, Tampa Bay. Pound the rock with Rojo and Fournette until they break. When the front seven wear down, we working them DBs. Hit Godwin, AB, Scotty get 13. Hit him on the crossing route, hit him on the post. You can hit him underneath or just hit him on the goals. When they think they got it figured out and we exposed, Tyler Johnson making grabs, boy, you already know. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seeds today. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay. Defense. And goodbye, boy, you can't move. Number one rush defense in the league starts up front. Y'all don't want no smoke with them dudes. The squad goes William, goes to Nunez, Roaches, Vita, Vea, McClendon, Ledbetter, and Dominican Sue. Try Tucktail, no matter which way that you head. Jason Pierre, Paul, and Sack Barrett off of the edge. Devin White's an animal looking to be fed. Levante playing games, this is where the play ends. Winfield Juniors making men cry. Dean and CD3 regulate the outside. When they ask who we are, we ain't gotta mention names. We some who gon' find a way to win the game. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seeds today. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay. No biscuit, no biscuit. BA is the man. Left twitching bows, keep devising the plan to make sure we keep winning. One goal is advance. Keep picking against us, we don't give a damn. We'll still hold the Lombardi trophy overhead as the first team to do it in front of our fans. Welcome to Tampa Bay. We buck 'em up when we raise the flag. Fire the cannons and seeds today. The crew's ready, all hands on deck, no parlay. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay, we buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. We buck 'em up. Down in Tampa Bay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking Sports. I'm your host, Larry Frank, and what a great show we have for you this evening. Lots and lots of things to talk about in the Tampa Bay area. We're going to obviously talk about, we're going to have a special guest on in about 20 minutes. Probably one of the most underrated running backs to ever play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was a real great player, was a star at the University of Florida. We're going to have Ernest Graham joining us. That's right, Ernest Graham will be joining us live in about 20 minutes. We're also going to talk about free agency with the Buccaneers. Lots and lots of talk about free agency. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen this evening, whether it's before the interview or after the interview. Will be time permitting as far as when I do it, but definitely on this show, we will be talking about that. Now, we have lots and lots of stuff to get into today, but before we get to the Buccaneer talk and all the different Tampa Bay Buccaneer storylines that are going on today, we want to start off with some other sports here in the Tampa Bay area, and it starts with the USF women's basketball team. And, you know, if you listened to us last night on our USF Bullseye show, we talked about this, and I'm going to tell you something, folks. I'm listening to this game in my car. I'm getting pumped up. They're down. They're going into the fourth quarter, and Coach Jose Fernandez gets me fired up. He gets a T, baby, a T. Gets a technical foul and changes the momentum of this game. The Lady Bulls only shot 28% from the field, but got a hard-fought 56-47 win over Temple to win their 13th straight game. That's right, Tampa fans, 13th straight game. Unbelievable effort. You know, and you look at this last period, I'm listening to it on Sports Unlimited, and I'm listening to Derek Sharp, and, you know, Derek Sharp is announcing the game. He's getting me fired up in my car. And, you know, we talk about free throws over and over again on our USF Bullseye show, and we talk about it constantly. Well, the USF Bulls won this game predominantly because of their success at the free throw line. They made 11 free throws in the fourth quarter, led by Elisa Pinzon making 6 of 6 free throws in that last quarter, and then Sydney Harvey made 5 of 5. So 11 free throws. The ladies shot over 80% from the free throw lines. Listen to this. Bethany Mununga, unbelievable. Again, another double-double. Her 19th career double-double. Had 10 points. And listen to this, folks. 20 rebounds. 20 rebounds for the young lady, Bethany Mununga. Also, you had Shay Leverett. And I'll tell you about this girl. I'm listening to the game on the radio. Derek's yelling. Shay's yelling for the ball. Shay's yelling for the ball. My goodness gracious, she came up with some big points and some big plays, had 9 rebounds in this game. Elisa Pinzon had 6 assists, 9 points. Shay had 9 points. Sydney Harvey and Elena Sinicki also had 9 points in this game. Congratulations to Jose Fernandez. Like I said, they only shot 28% from the field, only made 3 3-pointers. But when you're 19 of 23 from the free throw line, you know, usually you're going to win ball games. You know, and USF won the board game as well, as they won 17-9. We want to go ahead and congratulate the entire USF women's basketball program and Coach Jose Fernandez on a tough-fought win. Remember, guys, the last 3 games before this, they had 30 days off. 30 days off when they weren't even allowed to practice together, and they're still finding ways to tough it up and win. And that's what great teams do. They handle adversity, and you got to give credit to their leader. I'll tell you what, that technical foul, you know, a lot of people don't look back on it, but it changed the entire morale of that last quarter where the Bulls outscored them 21-7. Congratulations, USF Bulls, on a great, great win. Then right after that, I'm trying to listen to the Lightning game as well. Before we get into the Buccaneer talk, we'll shoot on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay Lightning won 3-0. If you haven't heard it, versus the Carolina Hurricanes today. It was unbelievable. You had Victor Hedman going beyond the goal. Does a quick pass over to Ross Colton. Scores! First score. First score of his career for the youngster Ross Colton. Makes it 1-0. Then it's the They're up 1-0. What happens? Blake Coleman from Gord and Maroon. Gord with a beautiful pass in the middle. Tipped in by Blake Coleman. And they go on to win 3-0 with a late goal by Barclay Goodrow. Alex Cajon, 2 assists in this game. Andrei Vasilevsky, a shutout and 25 saves. The Tampa Bay Lightning have now won 2 in a row. They win today by the score of 3-0. Want to thank everybody so very much who's on a bunch of different platforms. If you can please do me a favor and share this to your timeline. We are about a little under 15 minutes away from having former Florida University Gator and former Tampa Bay running back Ernest Graham on with us. So if you can please go ahead and share this. And let me show you another thing before we get on to free agency and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was telling you today that Ross Colton went ahead and he scored in his first game, scored a goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's look at the names of some of the other Tampa Bay Lightnings that went on to score a goal in their first game. And as you can see, that's a great, great list right there. But congratulations to Ross Colton. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning on a beautiful 3-0 win. And they needed that. The last 2 games playing a lot better. Defense was a lot better today. Passing was crisp. They're playing harder now. And, you know, this is just one of those things. You know, they got to keep it going, get the momentum going into the playoffs, kind of like the Buccaneers. It's the team going into the playoffs that is playing the best hockey, football, baseball, basketball, whatever sport it might be, that usually comes out and prevail. So now's a good time for the Lightning to turn it up a little bit, and let's get that flavor going as, you know, we're almost halfway through the season already. So it'll be a great time for them to go ahead and turn it on. Now, you know, we got about 10 minutes before Ernest comes on, and I want to go ahead and I'm going to try to make this picture a little bit bigger for you folks. So if you might not see me as much, which I don't think any of you are going to necessarily, let me see if I can get this out of here. There we go. All right. And I want to try to get some of these names up here. All right. I think you guys can probably go ahead and see some of that. You may not see my face as much, but let me try to work this out a minute. Let's see if I went like this and I made it bigger. I want everybody to be able. Okay. And if you look at some of these names up here, you're going to see quite a few different names here. Okay. You go ahead, you see Rob Gronkowski. You're going to see Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin. And then on the bottom, you're going to see Sean Barrett, Levante David, and Dominic Sue. Now, we talk a lot about free agency. We talk a lot about who should be the first free agents. That's all I'm hearing. Larry, who do we sign first? Who do we sign first? Well, let me explain something, guys. If you know, for those of you, and it's almost every single person here in the Tampa Bay area, saw the end of this season, saw the playoffs, went ahead and saw the Super Bowl. This team, don't get me wrong, we had a tremendous offense, but the Super Bowl was won because of our dominant defense. And if you're going to sign players and you're looking at who you should sign first, nobody in that top row should go before anybody in that bottom row. Defense wins championships. If defense wins championships, Barrett, Levante David, and Dominic Sue all have to be signed before anybody on top. Anybody up there from Gronkowski to Brown to Fournette to Chris be replaced and you can still win the Super Bowl. But it's going to be a lot harder to do that if you have to replace one of those bottom three. Now, I love to get your feedback. I love to get your comments on this situation. But if you're asking me, nobody on top of this list should be signed before the bottom three on this list. You got to get Barrett signed. You got to get David signed. And you got to get Sue. That defense was so dominant in these playoffs, in the Super Bowl. It's got to be the main focus. And if you listen to Bruce Arians talk, and I think he even made the comment earlier today when he did his press conference, we built this team by building our defense. Yes, you added Tom Brady. Yes, you added some pieces around him. But with all those players intact and these three players on the bottom, if they weren't there this year, you don't win the Super Bowl. I'm sorry to say that. It is a true fact. You win with defense. And if you're asking me what they should do, they should very quickly sign these three on the bottom and then see what they have available on top. Gronkowski could be replaced simply by O.J. Howard next year. And I love Rob Gronkowski. He's a beast, and I love having him, okay? He definitely adds to the team. You want him back, and he'll be back. Antonio Brown, is only going to be a big deal to sign if Godwin doesn't sign, okay? Otherwise, you can still win without Antonio Brown. Leonard Fournette, give him credit. He showed up in the playoffs, but he didn't do anything during the season, folks. He did not do anything during the season to help us get to the playoffs. Once we got to the playoffs, he helped us, and he did an unbelievable job. I don't want to take away from the great job that he did. But you can get another running back. Adrian Peterson is out there. Ronald Jones has proven that he is our back, and we will be fine with Ronald Jones and another back like Adrian Peterson. Or even if Shady McCoy comes back, who knows? Okay, then you talk about Chris Godwin. Everyone goes, he's our best, arguably our best receiver, with maybe Mike Evans you can argue about. But at the end of the day, you can bring Godwin back, spend all this money on Godwin, but if you don't have that other three, what good is it if you don't have an attack on the opposing quarterback and he's beating the you-know-what out of you and they're winning, the other team is winning the game and you're losing the game? It doesn't matter. There are other receivers out there as well, including Antonio Brown, that you can replace Chris Godwin with. Now, that doesn't go to say that he would not help if he was with us. But at the end of the day, folks, you got to look at this. You can't have everything the way you want it. If you got to give up one thing here, at the end of the day, folks, it probably, arguably has to be that Chris Godwin may be the odd man out unless he decides or the Buccaneers decide to franchise tag him. It's a tough situation. Love to get feedback. Love to get your comments. Want to welcome Eric from Gainesville. We want to also welcome Tommy from Temple Terrace. Welcome to the show. Want to welcome everybody on Northeast Streaming Sports and Crew Life as well. We're on a lot of different platforms tonight, folks. We're on Twitter. We're going live right now on YouTube. We're live in the United Kingdom. We're live on Northeast Streaming Sports. We are now on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM, just to name a few. Just an amazing outpour of fans and listeners that we are getting, and I want to thank you all very, very much. We are about 5 minutes away from having Ernest Graham on with us. We're talking free agency. We're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneer football. This is the time, folks, where you get the opportunity to come on this show, whether you want to make a quick phone call or you want to go ahead and leave a comment. These are where your questions will get answered. So please go ahead. We love to hear some feedback. We are talking about the free agency. Who do you think? Who do you think on this team, if you had to give away one player, do you agree with me that it should maybe be, the defense that we worry about first before worrying about the free agents that are offensive players? If you ask me, I already said it, the defensive guys have to go first. The guys on the bottom of that list, the Levante David, the Shaq Barretts, the Ndamukong Suh, have to be signed before anyone. And then if you ask me who would be the first offensive player that I would, or if you want to call it offense, the first player that I would sign after the defense, it'd probably be Ryan Suckup, our place kicker. That's my belief. Love to have people call in. Love to get feedback. We are on several different stations. We are about 3 minutes away from having Ernest Graham on with us. We're looking forward to that. I know a lot of you on different networks are looking forward to that as well. And like I said, he's about 2-3 minutes away from joining us. We got a bunch of questions for him on his career with University of Florida, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's also now a head football coach. So lots and lots of things Ernest has been doing, especially since he left the Buccaneers. So we're looking really, really forward to go ahead and speak with him. Once again, if you'd like to chime in, the call-in number here is 813-922-9810. A lot of you fans out there, you leave me messages and you come on Facebook and you come on Frankly Speaking Sports, which is terrific, and you ask questions. Well, this is also a time and a platform for you to ask questions. I don't want you leaving going, I should have asked. I'm going to give you my opinion. You may not agree with my opinion, but I'm going to give you my honest opinion, and I want to hear your honest opinion. Remember, we agree to disagree on this show. We're fired up. A lot of great things happening in Tampa Bay. The fans are real happy. The fans are real excited. We want you to get involved. We want you to go ahead and leave a message, whether you're Tommy, Eric, or anyone else, and ask what you think. And, those are the things that we're looking for here on the show. I mean, USF women's basketball team, huge win today. We're talking about another possible team winning a championship in the area. We got the Lightning, who won their last 2 in a row. We all know that the Tampa Bay Rays are starting up. And boy, do we have shows that are just incredible for you. After Ernest Graham comes on tonight, tomorrow night, for all you folks, if you are baseball fans, make sure you tune in. I think one of the better pitchers to ever pitch while I've been alive, and I'm 54 years old, is former Chicago White Sox Jack McDowell we're going to have on tomorrow. Then we're also going to have a former pitcher who was a big part of the Atlanta Braves winning the World Series when he came in relief for Mark Wohlers and pitched an unbelievable inning to get the save in that game. Pedro Barbon Jr. is going to be joining us as well tomorrow night. So, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow night, Jack McDowell and Pedro Barbon Jr. right here, Frankly Speaking Sports, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are a couple of minutes away. I'm checking my phone here to make sure that Ernest is not, for any reason, texting me. That does happen sometimes as well. Let me say not yet. Wait. All right. He should be on any second. He said he's trying to get on right now. So we'll see if any second that Ernest should be on in a moment. So we are looking forward to that. Let me go ahead and move some stuff around as he tries to get in. All right, that's the picture of me. So a couple moments away from having Ernest Graham on. It should straight. If you follow. Let me just let him know. All right. So a couple minutes away from having Ernest Graham on. He's trying to get on right now for us. So as soon as he comes on, after the interview with Ernest, if you want to go ahead, get involved, answer some questions, have us answer questions, whether it's Buccaneer related, Lightning related, Rays related, or any topic you want to talk about. If it's about fans coming back to games, anything you want to talk about, you go ahead and let us know, and we will be more than happy to go ahead and answer those questions for you. Like I said, we are trying to get Ernest on right now. He's attempting to get on right now, so hopefully he will be on in a couple of seconds. Not sure what's going on that end, but I do know he is trying to get on right now with us. So we'll give him a couple of extra minutes. There we go. It looks like we are on our way, almost there. We just don't have him on camera yet. So we'll try to get him on camera. There he is. All right. So let us go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and move this around. It is my great honor and thrill to introduce to you our next guest here on Frankly Speaking Sports. One of the fans' favorite here. I know he was definitely one of mine when he was playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but I also had the privilege and luxury of also watching him grow into an unbelievable football player. And I think we just lost Ernest on his camera again, so I'm going to have to ask him to come back on and in if he can hear us, as we lost him on his camera. So that happens a couple times. Let's see if he should be able to come back on in a minute. Let me go ahead and wipe that away, and then he will be right back. So we'll go ahead and introduce him again in a minute. So he'll be on in another minute, folks. Sorry about that. Sometimes the different connections and Wi-Fi and all that good stuff when we're dealing with technology. So he will be right back in. The good news is he knows how to get in now. So he should be back up and in 1 second. So as we wait for him, I'll look at, see if we have any questions. The one fan did say, isn't it a big deal to re-sign Ryan Suckup? Yes, it is. I mentioned that just a few minutes ago. Don't know if you just came on, but we did mention that it is a big deal, but not before those defensive players. So we'll go ahead and he is coming back on here. So we'll give it a couple of seconds here. He just sent me a post that he's coming back on. All right, there he is. Now we're just waiting for the picture for him to come on, and hopefully we're just waiting for his camera to come back on. That's all we're waiting on. There he is again. Let's go ahead and bring him on, ladies and gentlemen, before I lose him again. I tell you, he was that quick on the field too. You know, you see a woman on the neck. Let's go ahead and get our good buddy, former Gator and Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Ernest Graham. Ernest, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much. I'm going to move something around here. There we go. Okay. Now we can get it back. Okay, I can hear you and see you now. Well, we lost him again. We keep losing him for some reason there. Not sure that's on. Says it's on that end. So I'm not sure why his computer keeps kicking out. Let me let him know again. Your camera kicked out again. All right. We're going to try him one more time, folks, to get him on. He is trying. So, yeah. All right, he's coming back on again. Let's hope the third time is a charm, folks. So if not, we'll have to so he is coming back on. Not sure what's going on. You know, these can be little things such as Wi-Fi and all that stuff, but he'll be on in a second. He knows how to get back on, so that's the good thing. Should only take a second before he gets on with us. All right. And we'll wait for the camera to come up again, and we'll bring him right in this time. We're not even going to wait once he gets his picture on there. All right, so let's bring him right on there and see if we can keep him on here. I see you there, buddy. I'm not sure what the problem is. Sometimes it's on the other end, the difference in Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. So
Okay.
I do apologize about that. But, you know, let's talk about your high school career a minute. I mean, you know, you had a chance to choose many, many different schools to go to. Why was, you know, what was it that drove you to go to the University of? There he goes again. Okay, stay with me one sec, folks. I'm going to be right back. We might have to bring Ernest on the phone. So we might just do that. I'm not sure why we're having that difficulty, but stay with me a minute. And I'm going to bring a quick picture up of Ernest so everybody know Ernest. All right, maybe I can get a picture of him up here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try it one more time. But let's go ahead and I'm going to do this one more time here. We'll try that. If not, let me go ahead. So I do apologize to all the fans out there. Not sure what is going on right now here with the connection there. So we'll see what's happening. I'm trying to get a couple of pictures up here. So if we have to use the old-fashioned way, we do. All right, let's try it one more time. I think he's coming on. If not, we will do the good old phone trick. All right, he's going to come back on, folks. And then if this doesn't work, we're going to go ahead and do a phone interview with him instead. So we'll see what happens right here as he comes back on. Thanks to all of you being as patient as you are for this. I know he's been trying real hard right now to get on here. I'm not sure why it keeps kicking him off. Says he's coming on again, so we'll give it a second, folks. And as soon as he comes on, if that doesn't work, we'll go ahead and do a phone interview. All right, he's coming back on, folks. Let's give it time to update. Once again, we've been talking about free agency, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Anybody wants to chime in on this, go ahead and leave a comment. We would love to hear about it. We're going to go ahead and get Ernest right back on here as it's loading up right now. We'll try to get him on, and if not, we'll do a phone interview with them as we try to get him on. Ernest, for some reason, if you fall back off, we'll go ahead and call you on the phone, and we'll do it over the phone, my friend.
All right, I apologize, brother. I'm not sure what's going on.
It could be anything, buddy. I don't want to sit here and blame. I just got you here. I'm happy to have you, man. Well, I was asking you about the Florida Gators. What made you choose the University of Florida?
I mean, I grew up a Gator fan. So I can go back and Gator history, kind of quite a ways. Obviously, all the great running backs, that were there. Emmitt Smith and Eric Rett, a number of guys I was a fan of. Also coming out of high school, some of my really good friends, Teddy Dupay, who was a basketball player. We both, kind of decided on, committing there, rooming together, and just being, Gators for life. Javon Curse was another guy that I grew up with. Ronnie Battle, who's a guy who played for the University of Florida and was from Fort Myers, Florida, where I'm from. He went there. Others. So I grew up a Gator fan, and I was also a Miami fan too. So, it came down to the Gators and Miami, but it was, just a lot more. There's a lot more going for me at the University of Florida, and I'm glad I made a decision.
Yeah, and you make the decision in 2000, the Gators win the SEC championship while you're playing under Coach Steve Spurrier. Talk about the year you won the championship. How big of a thrill, and talk about the relationship. I mean, you played with one of the best college football coaches of all time. How was playing for Coach Spurrier?
Coach Spurrier was awesome, man. I mean, he was, he was brilliant. He was simple. um, and you just knew what he expected. Day in and day out. As far as practice, as far as games, as far as what he expected from you. In the classroom. Obviously, we played a fun style of football. For me as a running back, it meant I didn't run the ball as much, but I was able, to develop as a kind of all-around back, in his system. He was all about winning and winning championships and doing and having the smartest play on possible, every single time out. So I learned a lot, from Coach Spurrier. We had some really good years, during the time I was there. And he's one of the best that ever do it. So it was a great time.
Now, your senior year, you have a different coach. You have Ron Zook, but you're named senior captain. I mean, you're the featured running back, Ernest. You rushed for over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, and at the end of the college career, you're ranked as one of the greatest running backs to ever play at the University of Florida as a Gator. Let me ask you this. With all the success you had your senior year, were you surprised that you went undrafted in 2003?
Yeah, yes and no. I left. I was injured. I don't think people knew I was injured,
Right.
quite a bit during my senior year. So I had a kind of a high ankle injury that I played with, and then I had like a foot injury that required a toe injury that kind of required surgery towards the end of the year. So I kind of I wasn't working out. I gained some weight while sitting out, and kind of when it came back. Kind of when it was time to come for the combine, I didn't, work out as well as guys would like, and it's kind of the hype machine of the draft and how fast you run and, what, the latest thing that you did. I wasn't surprised because I've seen it happen to quite a few guys before. I felt like I was a good back, but I did understand, if you didn't run too well or look the best during that time, that it was a possibility. I did expect to go on the second day, but it didn't happen. And obviously, it ended up working out in my favor because I got a chance to choose, where I wanted to go try out, work out, and, kind of the rest is history.
Yeah, and you end up being signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a free agent. And I remember your first year, you actually played on the practice squad, not the regular team. How much did playing on the practice squad that first year help you for when you got your time in the NFL?
Well, I got a chance. I came the year after the Super Bowl, so I got to practice
Right.
some legends and what was, probably the best defensive group, that the game has seen, pretty much one of the best. So I got to see those guys, how they went about their business, day in and day out. It was similar for me at the University of Florida. I had a chance to practice against some phenomenal defensive players. A number of those guys would go on, to play long years in the NFL. But, when you're on the practice squad, it's rough, man. Those guys are trying to get better day in and day out. They ran to the football all the time. They always trying to jar the ball out. They finished off tackles, so it wasn't easy for me, but it was probably the best preparation or the best training that I could have was going against that defense, day in and day out. So, also, guys like Michael Pittman and Mike Allstott and Aaron Stecker and Thomas Jones and, like those guys kind of took me under their wing and trying to show me the ropes as well on how to be a NFL back. So, I was fortunate for sure.
Now 2004 through 2006 in preseason, Ernest, during preseason, I know it's only preseason, but you led the team in rushing for 3 years in a row during preseason. Why? What was it with Coach Gruden? I mean, you proved yourself, as much as you could during the spring, the spring games, the exhibition season. Why was it that Coach Gruden, for some reason, wouldn't give you your chance those 3 years? The first 3 years you played.
I don't know. That's probably was a question for John. I think, he had some really good guys in front of me. Obviously Mike was still there, and Pittman was a phenomenal all around back.
Yeah, he was.
Obviously we ended up drafting Cadillac, who's a great friend of mine. I guess Thomas Jones was there one of those years, and some other good backs, Jamel White, some other guys who had played quite a bit, in the league. One of my biggest things was I was such a versatile player. I think, people didn't know how to take me all the time. I could go play fullback at a high level. I could go play tailback at a high level. And I think sometimes that might have got lost in, what is he? And I really kind of feel like at some of the ways I was kind of all of those things, so, I could fill in whenever I needed to fill in, or I could play, both roles, fully if I needed to, if I need to be a tailback, if I need to be a fullback, if I need to block, or just be a special teams guy, so I think I was just always that safety valve. And I think Coach did see me as just a versatile, high value guy. But I don't know if he ever saw me as a starter, like per se, but what happens when you grow into a system, like his system, I started to improve year after year. So, once my time, I really, I just really flourished because, I really loved the West Coast system and the way John, thought about the game and the way you have to play within that system. So I think that helped me as well,
Now, Ernest, the injury bug hits Tampa Bay, and you finally get your chance to prove what you probably already known, that you're a major back in the NFL. I mean, the fans loved you. I mean, you were fans' favorite, though, and you know that when you played. But the year, it seemed like everybody, Cadillac went down, of course, with a terrible leg injury. Allstat, Pittman, all the guys he mentioned seemed to get hurt. You come in, play 13 games, rushed for just under 900 yards. You had 10 touchdowns, 13 games you played, 3 100-yard games, and you scored in 6 consecutive games. How were you able all those years to stay prepared and know that, the moment your time came to be able to deliver on that big stage?
Yeah, I felt always fortunate. I just loved the game. So I never begrudged being behind anybody. Fortunately, all those guys are my friends. Mike, Cadillac, and Pittman, all those guys. We talk. I just always a guy. When I grew up, I was an all-around athlete. I was probably as good a baseball player as I was a football and basketball player. So, just the camaraderie of sports, the mindset that you need, to play multiple sports and to learn a skill and be great at something, and to kind of be patient developing a skill. And, I was probably more in love with that than I was just, the limelight, so to speak. So, as I was playing and going to practice every day, that's a dream for me, you know what I mean? And learning from the best and being around the best, that was more of a dream. I didn't think I needed to overly prove anything to anybody. I just felt like I could do everything. It's funny, but I just did. I always felt like I could do anything. So I was confident that when I was called upon that I could do it. So if I was playing fullback, I was just really focused on being a great fullback. If I was running down on kickoffs, I was just focused on, leading the team in tackles, and I wanted to, battle with, Corey Ivy and Torrey Cox and the other great special teams guys. So like whatever I was doing, that's just what I was doing. You know what I mean? And I didn't look sideways. You know what I mean? It's just kind of how I was raised, how I was born, and I was fulfilled in no matter what position that I had a chance to play.
And Ernest, people say you were probably one of the most unselfish teammates. You always give it your all. It didn't matter, when you played special teams, you led the team in tackles on special teams. Whatever position, and goes to talk about your unselfishness. When I know one year you and Warwick Dunn, I believe it was, you guys were splitting, duties at the running back position, and you told the team or the coaches that, hey, listen, our fullbacks are all getting hurt. If you need me to play fullback, I'll play fullback, which, is definitely an unselfish thing. But it seemed like once you did that, they never wanted, they believed in you still as a running back, but it seemed like the rest of your career, you played fullback after that.
Yeah, I did. So, when I finally got my chance at tailback, it was pretty short-lived, So I came back that next year and, like I said, Ward was there. And then at some point, LeGarrette was there, who was a phenomenal back. So, Cadillac came back, and we brought in Derek Ward, so I end up kind of going right back to where I was, but still I kind of kept the same mindset, like I always hold to the fact that, the times I did play, within that year, those guys got hurt, but believe it or not, even that year that I did do pretty well, I kind of dragged through with a lot of injuries. I had some devastating injuries. I barely even practiced during the time. So it was a really tough time for me, and just a time that I just needed to step up for my team and, kind of have a gut check on just who I was as a person and whether or not I really wanted it. And I, we ended up having a really good season, and obviously, going to the playoffs and, doing, a number of really good things. But again, I think it came down to, after John left, I think I was just always seen as a versatile guy. I was a really good fullback, and, so I think that hurt me in some ways, and as far as the tailback position. But like I said, when I did get a chance to play tailback, I felt like I, established a number, of records, or got in the record books, and, guys have broke them and stuff like that. I felt like I showed I could play the tailback position at a, a high level. I came back in 2008 and, halfway through the year, I was breaking a number of long runs and everything before I got back to the fullback position. So I think, when I got a chance, man, I thought it was awesome, but I didn't mind putting my hand back in the dirt. That's just me, man. I'm from, like from where we from. That's what we say. We from the dirt. Like that's how I played in the park. You know what I'm saying? So blocking for guys and knocking out linebackers and then running the ball in the goal line. That's just how you got it in. You just was versatile like that. So, it just never really occurred to me. Like it was just in my mind. I was making good money. I was playing for the Buccaneers. I was seeing my family, every weekend. My son and daughter were coming in the stadium. Like that was like a dream for me. I just kept that perspective all the time, So
yeah, I can understand that. And I know you gave the fans a lot of great thrills while you were playing. You talked about your buddy Cadillac, who could have had an unbelievable career if it wasn't for his legs giving out on him when he was playing. Cadillac came back from his injuries. In 2011, you had a real serious, I believe it was the Achilles that you either tore or did something with. I don't know how they described it. But, as a player, somebody that, a position where your legs are used so much, did you know that it was the end of your career when it happened? Or did you feel like you had a chance to come back?
Yeah, I did feel like I had a chance to come back. I did get some offers, particularly, Jaguars, a couple of teams called about, bringing me into the camp. Like I just really wanted to retire a Buck. Like I just did, So, I had played, I've been there 9 seasons. The story, that me and my family had, there in the Bay Area, was a great story. And I just wanted to stay tied to that. I didn't. I felt like I definitely could have played. But man, I'm just fortunate to be raised in Southwest Florida, go to the University of Florida, play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I definitely love the game, but man, I really was happy with, my time there in Tampa. So, I decided, to opt out on, not, going to camp with another team and kind of just retiring in the area. But I felt good enough to go back. But I was just happy, man, with my body work, at the end of the day. So.
Now, in 2013, Ernest, you become a head coach at North Fort Myers High School. When did you make the decision in your head? Was it while you were playing, after you were playing, first that you wanted to be a head coach? And then second, who were some of the coaches that influenced you to become a head coach?
Yeah, I played for a lot of great guys, man. I played for, obviously for, Steve Spurrier, John Gruden, I had a number of great high school coaches myself. I felt like I wanted to be around, young men, and just kind of be around the game and kind of give what I learned, back to young men. There were some complications, I'm like every other guy that, tries to, to transition. Um, the stuff with, concussions and your memory and all that stuff, like all of that stuff is real. You know, besides trying to, coach and teach, that's something that I've really struggled with, off the field. But my main thing was to, just to really give back and just to be there. So, North Fort Myers was a school that had a rich history. Deion Sanders and Javon Curse and other guys, played there for the school. I was retired. I was, needed, really needed something to do while my wife was, we both were trying to run a business at the time. And, she ended up running the business herself. And I ended up, going out and coaching, man. And it was a really good 4 years. Like I said, I gave it up that fourth year because I felt like I really needed to take some time and and really get in control of my health. As far as my my mental health and just everything that's kind of was going on with me, at the time, which I think is very important to say with, you know, in light of what just happened with Vincent Jackson and what happens to a number of guys. I really felt like that year, like I felt like I needed to pull back in my fourth year and really, kind of get in control of some things that was going on. But I was influenced by some great coaches. In the time that I could, do it there at North, I did, man, and it was a good time during that time.
Now, Ernest, you mentioned CT, and like you said, it's been a big topic, especially with your buddy Vincent Jackson. He was the last player. Junior Seau was another one. I know my good buddy Mark Duper also came out and said that he suffers from it. People sometimes, and we talked about this on one of my shows, that sometimes it seems like the NFL and the owners, while you're playing the game, they pay you, they do what you need them to do, but it seems like after the game is over that they really, and once again, I'm not a player, I'm just telling you my perspective, they don't do enough. And let me explain what I mean real quickly here, Ernest. They go ahead and they say, okay, you know what? We're going to go ahead and give this much money so you can study research CTE. But to me, it seems like money is just a way for them to cop out and say, here's the money, now shut up, leave us alone, let us take care of something else. And I know I said that a little harshly there, but it doesn't seem like they get involved. Isn't it more important than money for people to get involved and talk to people like the Vincent Jacksons, the Junior Seau, you felt it and you were able to get a grasp on it, but there's certain players that can't. I mean, do you think the NFL is doing enough?
I think they're trying, like I do think they're trying. I mean, there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of resources out there, that I know of. There's a lot of programs. You have to go through a lot, obviously, to kind of prove that something is indeed going on. So I've gone through a lot of the different processes. I'm still going through it. It's not something that leaves you. I have good
Right.
days, I have bad days. I have good months, I have bad months. It's just one of those things. But I do know the more that they hire guys who have played, to head up these different things,
Right.
the more that those guys can kind of sympathize and, with what's kind of going on, and those guys, will, communicate on behalf of other players and help other players get things done. So I mean, there's been a lot of really good, fellas, brothers of mine who've played the game that, reach out and say, man, do you know about this? Do you know about that?
That's
How are you doing? Like that at the end of the day, I think players, kind of realizing that they have that power, to look out for each other and to kind of help each other. I think that goes, I think that goes a long way. So it just hurts me to my heart to see it, just to see it end in such a way, like it did for, Vincent, man, or, just for other guys. Um, it's just not easy, man. And it's, like I said, you enjoy a great life and, people clapping for you, but, it's just a reality, brother.
absolutely.
So.
Now, so do you have a form of CTE, Ernest? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I have a form of it. I've been diagnosed. I just know that,
Okay. Okay.
depression wise, having, just having the thoughts of whether you want to go on. Like I've dealt with all of that. So, I mean, I'm to the point where you feel like you need to communicate it because other guys are going through it. I'm not the type of person that goes, screaming at the top of my lungs about things.
Right.
I have, my wife is awesome. My family is awesome. I have friends. I have when I'm coaching or stuff like that. I have friends who understand my situation, so I don't have to do all the duties and stuff. Helping just being around the game just helps me. And I have a lot of people who really understand, kind of what's going on, kind of privately and everything. So that helps. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
is
So
it tough watching kids in high school play the game because down the road what some of the results with what's going on with all these head injuries might be?
yeah, I mean it's definitely tough, but you understand. Like I didn't have, when you're a kid, you only have you feel like you only have so many roads. Like for my kids, it might be different than what I was, but I don't really regret, just taking up the game and playing. There's people who fight for us, who fight for this country. There's, people who play football. There's people who, go to the moon. We all have to do what we have to do. Um, but like you said, with that said, we also have, kind of responsibilities to kind of take care of each other as well after the fact. So I get why kids play, man. It's awesome. I think young men need to, go out and be physical and have a place to go out and knock somebody down and get back up and, kind of have a good attitude, a good sportsmanship about it. I think there's a place for that. We're learning how to tackle better. There's been things that have been done in the game that makes a lot of this less likely, but for a lot of us who have played, it just is what it is. So
Before I let you run, Ernest, obviously just a couple weeks ago, your former team, Super Bowl champions. I mean, it's a privilege, it's an honor, I know, and a big thrill for any player that has played for a team to see the team after they retire, go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. But you were a Buccaneer all your life, like you said, your entire career. For someone who played their entire career with one team, how big of a thrill was it for you to see the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl this year?
it was great, man. Like I said, our family is a Buck family. My kids grow up going to the games and going. My son grew up, and, being in the locker room. One thing I will say is, I was on the last team that went, to the playoffs.
Right.
And we had phenomenal leadership, man, and Jeff Garcia. So, Jeff came in, and the way he communicated in the huddle, the fire that he played with, when things were down, we kind of had something similar, to what they have with Tom, right now. And that matters, man. Like the leadership, the guy who handles that ball all the time, and both from the center position and from the quarterback position, it's a big deal. Not to mention, obviously they have a phenomenal, defense, in all ways. So, I just love the fact that, not only did they win, but they're kind of breaking ground or, setting precedents in a lot of different ways from, the way they're hiring on the staff, the things that they're doing out in the community. I just think Tampa Bay itself, man, is just a great place to live. It's a great place to be. But just watching them win and get better all year and win in a dominant fashion it was just awesome, man. It really was.
Well, listen, Ernest, first of all, I want to thank you so very, very much, for coming on Frankly Speaking Sports tonight. I do want to apologize about some of the issues we had at the beginning getting you on, but, we love you here in Tampa Bay. We always have. We'll continue to love you, man, and, we're always here if you need anything, my friend.
All right, love y'all too, man. Thank you.
All right, buddy, be safe.
All right. Good night.
Good night. That was, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer running back Ernest Graham. And what an incredible, incredible interview that was with Ernest. Want to remind you all that, let me first get this off here if I can. All right. There we go. Okay. Want to remind you all that tomorrow night, unbelievable show for you if you are a baseball fan. Jack McDowell, former Chicago White Sox pitcher, and Pedro Babon, former Atlanta Brave pitcher, Toronto Blue Jay pitcher, Pedro Babon Jr. Both of them will be on our show live. Show begins at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody so very, very much for tuning in tonight. Thanks for sticking with us while we were trying to get Ernest on. But if you listen to the interview, you could see it was well worth the wait. Ladies and gentlemen, be safe, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow again on another episode of